What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and I'm here today with a review for The Shy. This is season 3, episode number 3, and the episode was titled Bust Down. So, you guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and just get right into this episode review. Alright, you guys, so this episode I'm gonna start up with Tiff, Jada, and Emmett. So, we see Tiff and Emmett, and they're heading over to Jada's house with their baby. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to get their story together about what they're gonna say to Jada because they're trying to, they need somewhere to stay. And I was sitting here thinking to myself, like, that's kind of interesting, because is Emmett not still working for Sonny as his manager? Like, I mean, maybe he's not making them maybe where they were staying at, they probably increased the rent. Who knows? But like I said, they were trying to get their story together so that they could talk to Jada. So then when they get to Jada's place, they said that they telling Jada that they need to stay with her for about like a month or two. They've already found a place, and she's like, so where's this place at? And Emmett said one place, Tiff said the other place. She said, y'all first need to get y'all stories together. So she says, you know what? Just because of everything that's going on in the neighborhood recently, I haven't really wanted to stay alone. So y'all can stay here for a little while, but none of that arguing shit, none of that, don't wake me up. 20-minute limit on the shower. XYZ, she set some ground rules for Tiff and Emmett. So then we do see Jada at the clinic, and she's there with the girl and her grandmother, and the girl is obviously having sex. So, the grandma's like, I raised my kids and I raised her mama kids. I'm not about to raise her kids. So then the woman sees a flyer of Keisha, and she's like, it's just a shame what happened to that poor girl. And then we found out that the granddaughter actually knew of Keisha because they dated the same guy. Now, when I look at that girl, I'm like, wait a minute, she looks kind of familiar. Because I was wondering, because you guys remember that dude that Keisha was, the track coach that Keisha was messing with, what was it, last season? The track coach. I was like, was she involved, were they involved with the track coach together? Because you guys remember, the track coach and Keisha, well, actually, Keisha had broke up with him when Emma was trying to tell her. So who knows? So then a little nurse, he accidentally walked in on this whole, on Jada with the patient. And then afterwards, Jada was like, you know what, next time you should knock. And he was like, you know what, how about I take you out? She was like, on a date? He was like, no, my way of getting to know you and, saying I'm sorry. So she's like, okay. So then to double back to what I was just talking about a few minutes ago, so Emmett does still work for Sonny. So then again, like I said, maybe the rent has increased and he doesn't have, he doesn't make that much money to cover it. Don't know. So, Sonny is talking to Emmett about Keisha, and he's like, you just got to keep faith. And he says, take some of this food to Dre and Nina. So then Dom comes in and she's talking to Sonny about his menu and his food. Talking about, have you ever thought about marinating your chicken in buttermilk? And Sonny was like, girl, I've been cooking chicken a lot longer than you've been alive. I don't need your advice. I thought that was kind of rude to come in here and tell a man how to cook his food. Like, do you go to Popeyes and tell those people how to cook their chicken? Do you go to KFC, tell them how to cook their chicken? If you don't, leave it alone. You know what, I will say one thing about Lala. Her acting is still bad, but it's not as bad as it was on Power for me, but it's still just as bad. But I mean, we'll give her a shot. So then later in the episode, we do see Dom and Emmett, so they are there at Sonny's after hours. And I don't know what Emmett was thinking. It's just her and him, and she's having to cook all the food. So they have a long ass line, and people are waiting for an hour. That reminded me of those people that was outside of Red Lobster on Mother's Day for 3 hours waiting for some food. Take your ass home. After 3 hours, take your ass home and cook up your own goddamn food. But Dom tells Emmett, like, what, Emmett, I'm gonna make this work tonight, but you're gonna have to find some, you're gonna have to get me some fucking help around here. And He was like, okay, got it. So then over at Jada's place, we see Emmett and Tiff. They are arguing about the baby. Who's gonna take the baby to daycare? Emmett had just got home, so he's trying to sleep. Tiff got to go to work, and he's like, "You a weed dealer?" She's like, "And I like to be on top of my clients." He's like, "The weed man is always late." She said, "Well, not this weed woman." I'm like, "Oh my god!" So then Jada hears them arguing. Jada's like, "You know what? Forget it. Forget it. Forget it. I will take the baby to daycare. Y'all do whatever y'all gonna do. Just work that shit out." And then the fact that Tiff trying to come in her sideways about how she treats Emmett. I mean, yes, she does. She has been enabling Emmett, but she got to the point where she didn't enable Emmett. But whatever. So then, in this scene, I'm gonna talk about this, go a little bit deeper when I get to Dre and Nina. But Jada was talking to Emmett, and she tells him to tell Dre or Nina whatever he knows about this fake Instagram account that Keisha has. And then we see Jada. She goes over there and she gives Dre and Nina the information. And like I said, I'll talk about that a little bit more in just a few minutes about Dre and Nina. But they did get into an argument about, basically when Nina said that that is her daughter. But like I said, you guys, we're going to talk about that in just a little bit. So let's move on. All right, you guys. Now let's move over to Ronnie. So Ronnie, he's still doing his little odd job trying to collect his cans, and his cans and whatever aluminum he can acquire. And I was like, wow, that's really sad in a sense. That's really sad because number one, when you sell cans or anything like that, they don't give you a lot of money for it. So Ronnie goes to the recycling plant where I think her name is Charlene or something like that, whatever the woman name is. So she's still flirting with Ronnie, and we find out that she knows that Ronnie's homeless. And I'm like, wow, so you still want to sleep with him? He's like, oh man, I don't want no pity pussy. She's like, it's better than no pussy. I'm like, lady, that says a lot about you. That really does say a lot about you. Like, for real? Pity pussy? And for Ronnie? Okay. I mean, if that's what you want, go for it. So then we do see Ronnie later in the episode, and he's been chased down by some kids in an alley, and they catch up to him and they beat his ass. I'm like, wow. As much as I don't like Ronnie, I thought that was kind of fucked up. And then we see a pastor come to, a guy actually come out of his house and run the kids off, help Ronnie. But then we later find out that it is Papa's daddy, and Papa's talking to his dad like, you do know who that is, right? That is the guy that killed Coogie. And he was like, he's still a child of God. I'm like, ooh, you are a true man of the cloth. Because I just don't, me personally, I just don't know that I could bring, I don't know if I could do that. Especially if I have a kid that's around or younger than what Coogie was. I just don't know if I could be that person, to try to help Ronnie. I have to be honest with you guys, still working on me, but I just don't know if I would have been able to do it. I don't think I would have been that big of a person. I probably would have I definitely know I would have stopped those kids from, beating him, and I probably would have, tried to clean him up. But to, try to talk about, his faith and has he forgiven himself, wouldn't have been me. What it feels like to me is I know Ronnie likes being homeless because with the homeless people, no one truly knows what he's done. So he's free to be whoever he wants to be. I get that part. But also when it comes to other aspects of his life, I just feel like Ronnie wants to have, like the one who trying to give him pity pussy, I feel like Ronnie wants to have a pity party for himself. I just, that's all I get from, Ronnie. So then later in the episode, we see Ronnie, and he went to a nursing home, and there was Miss Ethel there. She's still the same as Ethel, Spitfire, and she was the thing. I knew something was off with Miss Ethel because Miss Ethel had her cell phone in her hand, trying to turn on a TV that wasn't even there, and she was like the remote is out, and Ronnie was like, "That's the cell phone, Grandma," and she's like, "You ain't my grandson. My grandson was a war hero." "But I am a war hero, Grandma." And that's when I was like, oh shit, Miss Ethel has dementia. Either dementia or early onset Alzheimer's. my grandfather had before he passed away, he actually had cancer. That's what he passed away from. But he was going through those stages of dementia. Like certain days were good, certain days were horrible. Like I mean, there were many times that we could not find him because he would wander out the house and we didn't know where he was. Like we would be worried about where he was. But most times we would always find him because he didn't go that far. He didn't go that far. That was always the good thing. He never went that far. But he would just wander off and wouldn't say anything. And he was actually at that point he had reverted back to a child because at that time he acted like some of my little cousins who were 3 and 4. He acted like they did. Wow. But let's move on, you guys. All right, you guys. So let's talk about Kevin, Jake, Trig, and Imani. So the episode opened where we left off last week with Kevin at that house with the homie with the gun in his face. Kevin was not shook, and I was with Kevin. I'm like, that's my dude. That's my little dude. Don't be afraid. Don't show him fear. And he wasn't scared. He wanted to leave without Keisha. So Jay was like, come on, man, let's go. And Pop was like, yeah, we need to go because I just pissed myself. I was like, oh my God, Papa. So then we do see Jake and Kevin. So they hop in the back seat of Trig's car. And they're talking to Trig about Keisha. And, they asking him, what do you know about the 63rd Street, gang? And can he go over there and try to see if Keisha's there? He was like, if I go over there, they gonna kill my black ass. And so he says, and then he's going off on Jake and he's going mostly going off on Jake for going over there, And then Jake asked him, like I said, will he go see? And he says, I don't do stuff for family. And Jake was like, well, Kevin is like family to me, so what's up? And he says, you know what? I got you. Because Imani actually talked him into doing it. Okay, so then let's talk about Papa real quick. So Papa, he went to go get Maisha for school because of all the stuff that's going on in the neighborhood, and he took her some breakfast. I'm like, oh, look at Papa trying to woo his girl. Like I'm here for Papa. So then Jake and Kevin are in class, and there's this little black girl. I forgot what her name was, and she was talking to she was actually talking to Kevin, but Jake chimed in and said something, and then he asked, they're watching this film, and Kevin asked Jake if he heard from Trick. He said no, I hadn't heard from him. He said, but he'll do it. He's like, how do you know he'll do it? He says because he's trying to get back in my good graces. So then the teacher notices that they're talking, and she asked Mr. Williams, since since you have a lot to say, what is this film about? So he comes up with something, and then the little black girl chimes in, and she tells what's going on in the film. And then after class, she told them like, y'all need to get y'all shit together for real, for real. She said there's only so few of us in here, and we gotta outdo these white people. So then, actually, let's stop that. So then let's talk about Imani and Trig. So Imani and Trig, they went to Big Nuck's house. And the same dude that answered the door when Jake went over there is the same dude that answered the door when Imani and Trig were there. And Trig asked if somebody was there, and he was like, who are you? And Trig pulls out the gun, and then Imani has her gun and gets his gun. So they go in, and they tell everybody, stop what you doing, like chill out. We're trying to find out some information. And I'm like, damn, they got that action. And then we see that they tied everyone up. And this scene was like truly disturbing at best. Cause I was looking around, I'm like, wow, those girls all look hella young. And then they asked one girl if they saw Keisha, and she's like, if she is here, she's not here on her own, her own accord. I'm like, wow. So this is a sex trafficking house, and then you just hear the girls having they weren't having sex. The dudes were having sex with them, based more so raping them, and it was just like, oh my God. And you might have knocked one of them dudes out, and Trey told her stop. I'm like, no, like that dude is like that little girl was that girl was screaming, talking about stop, and no, I was with Imani. So then we see them and actually let's move back up here to this scene. So after that, Jake and Kevin met up with Trig and Imani, and Trig told them like, so we went over there and we didn't see your sister, man. And Trig is trying to say that either she's with the pimp or she met up with the wrong person, or she could be dead. And Jake is like, nah, she ain't dead. He's like, how do you know? He says, because I have a feeling that she's not dead. So then, Imani and Bojack say, yeah, we believe that she's alive. And I hope and pray to God that Keisha's alive. I don't want to go through this whole season and then come to find out that Keisha is dead. So then Imani is at home and she's still, reeling from what she saw at that, that house. And she just shook up because she's like, that could have been me, which I know what she means, like, her being a trans woman. Most people don't want to hire people that are trans, and that's so stupid to me. Like, I don't understand, like, why do you, I don't understand why people have such an issue with trans people. It makes no sense to me. What they do in their personal lives should not have, what they choose to identify as, whatever none of that should matter to you. As long as they are a good hard worker, a decent human being, that's all that matters. And I don't understand why people concern themselves so much about what other people do in their private lives, in their bedrooms. I never get it. So she wants to help those girls, and Trigger's like, if we help them, where they gonna go? I mean, you can find somewhere to take those girls. Like, just the best thing is to just get them out of that situation that they are in. They're not willing participants in that. But let's move on, you guys. All right, you guys, and then let's close the episode out with Nina and Dre. So we see everybody, they're posting flyers of Keisha. They're asking people if they saw Keisha, and most people are ignoring the shit out of them. And I'm like, that is so fucked up. Now, what if that was your child and you were in this situation? Wouldn't you want someone to help you? Like, when they're trying to give people flyers, they don't want to take them. I'm like, the respectful thing would be to take the fucking flyer. If you don't want to help, throw the bitch on the ground, but at least pretend like you want to help the person. Like, this is a girl, this is a missing person. Like, the human decency. God. So then while she's doing that, Nina, Tracy walks up to Nina and, she tries to calm Nina down and she tells Nina, like, don't blame yourself. Like, don't do that. And, Tracy offers to help her. She's like, how can you help me? And Tracy's like, well, I have this support group that I have and I feel like we can help you. So then, Tracy is talking to Nina and Dre about the support group, and Dre is not really feeling this at this point. And Tracy says, okay, she says, shit, the police won't fucking help. The police will not help, which that is really sad when the police don't, they don't help you in situations like this. I'm not laughing at that. I'm not laughing at the situation. I'm laughing at the fact that if someone's missing, the police don't want to help you. They either say, oh, she may have ran off with a little boyfriend, or oh, this to this and that. Instead of just saying, okay, we got a missing person, let's do everything we can to help find her. Y'all want to come up with, maybe she did this, maybe she did that, da-da-da-da-da. Just say, okay, we got it. Give us a description of her. How tall is she? How much does she weigh? What does her hair look like? What color are her eyes? Get a sketch artist, whatever you gotta do. Like, damn. That's why people go, when people go missing, like the Vanessa Guillen situation, I didn't know anything about that because no one is talking, they just recently started talking about that, and that's really sad and fucked up when it comes to black and brown people. But a white person goes missing, like on Scary Movie 3 when Brenda said, one little whitey down the hole and the whole world stops. I'm just that's the line from the movie. So don't judge me for saying what she said in the movie, but it is true. So Tracy invites Nina and Dre to a support group. So we do see them at the support group, and again, this is a support group that Tracy started. So she tells the ladies at her support group that she wants everyone to know who Keisha is, because when they started asking people who knew Keisha, not one person knew it. So she wants Keisha's name on everybody's lips, in everybody's brains. She want visuals of Keisha in, in every sense of the way. And then one of the members asked, how do they even know she's missing? Well, if someone hasn't been home in about 3 days and they haven't called their family, and their cell phone was destroyed, I'm gonna assume that she's missing, right? And then they were like, well, she got this Finsta account. And I'm like, what is a Finsta account? And, Nina was like, I saw her Instagram. So, because she got those half naked pictures on there. And that scene alone pissed me off. It's like, so, because she has fake photos, because she have a fake Instagram account with, naked photos on there, that means that whatever happened to her, she asked for it to happen to her. Is that what you're saying? Are you saying that we shouldn't help her because of that? Like, what are you trying to say, lady? And I was happy about the fact that Dre clocked her at one of those ladies. Because she said, wait a minute, but didn't your son get killed robbing a place? But well, that's not the case. Yes, it is. And, the thing is, they're teenagers. I think, like all teenagers, you do stupid shit. I mean, I did stupid shit when I was a teenager. I'm pretty sure you guys have done stupid shit as teenagers. Hell, I know my mama did some stupid shit when she was a teenager. You cannot judge that. Like, that shit alone pissed me off. Like, what the fuck? So then we saw Dre. She was talking to Emmett, and she asked Emmett what he knew about, this Finsta account. He said, I don't really know anything about it. And, he asked about Kevin. She's like, oh, he's in his room if you want to go check on him. When he went in that room, Kevin was in there jacking off. I said, oh, he liked that little girl. So then we see Nina. So Nina is, going to get Kevin so that they can go to this vigil. But Kevin doesn't really want to go to the vigil. And I actually understand that. Because, I understand Kevin. Because Kevin, with them not finding her at, Big Nuck's place, Kevin's mind is wondering, where is Keisha? So I understand that. And it's scary for him. So I understand that. And Nina didn't push too hard on him. She's like, okay. She just walked out the room. So then we go to the vigil, and, Tracy's talking to the crowd. And then Nina gets up and, she makes a speech. And then out of the crowd, I don't know if anybody ever noticed it, but Ronnie was there. I don't think anybody noticed Ronnie. Now, Ronnie noticed something that, I was looking at this one guy. It was a white guy. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with a white guy coming to a vigil or anything like that, but he was just kind of weird. He was acting weird. And I think Ronnie noticed that as well. And Ronnie followed the guy. And when he followed him, he actually lost him. And again, you guys, I will say, please let Keisha be alive and well. That's all I ask. It's just let her be alive and well. But you guys, that was The Shy. Be sure to like this video. Leave your comments. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell notification button so you guys know when I drop anything else. Also, share this video. Until the next one, you guys stay safe. Take care of yourselves. And I will see you guys later.